Today on the Rumors Comedy Cast, Steve Dillon talks to Jordan Welwood about leaving his cushy job and his engineering degree behind to pursue comedy and make projects with friends. Follow us on Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Rumors Comedy.
Welcome to Rumors Comedy Cast, episode number 30. We've made it to episode 30. We got Steve Dillon here, just got into town. How you doing, man?
Good.
Good. Yeah, first show of the 2-week run.
Yeah.
It's a long stretch. How do you feel it went tonight?
I think it was pretty good. But
Yeah.
again, I haven't done it, so I'll know better after tomorrow if it was good or not.
You gotta get better. Yeah,
it was
litmus
good. It was
test.
good to feel it out. I think the first show you usually kind of feel it out and get comfortable. But it wasn't a disaster, so
that's always a positive.
Good.
That's the good comedian answer. It's just like, oh, they didn't boo me.
I didn't suck.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's the base level.
It's fun. 2 weks, long time. You got any plans where you're here? Like, what's your kind of...
No, I'm going to be looking for some.
Okay.
I haven't looked much into it, but I know got a cool pad to hang out in.
Across from the Old People Mall.
Across from the Old People Mall. I've checked out the mall.
Yeah.
Slim pickings over there, but
Your heart dropped a little bit, but...
yeah, there's stuff to do. There's an Applebee's.
It's true.
Spend some time there. Never been in one. And,
Ever?
I don't think so.
They have Applebee's in Toronto? No?
They have them, but it's always next to something that you'd rather go in. I think.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's like a Montana's.
Yeah, it's true.
Applebee's, I feel like that's where families go.
It's where families go to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I worked at an Applebee's.
did you?
Yeah, for a couple of years. What was your pre-comedy work experience?
I had a grown-up job before I quit and started comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a real job, it was like consulting and doing like some real estate stuff in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So it was a good gig because I got to work at home. So I could audition and then go do gigs and stuff, and they didn't know. And then I did like 3 years of that and then quit.
Oh wow! And did you post-secondary school? You went through all that?
Yeah, I did a lot of that. I did 6 years at Queens, Kingston, hometown.
Kingston represent.
Right, so
Over 100,000 people, I hear.
K-Town represent. Yeah. So I did some serious shit there. I did an engineering degree and then urban planning. So I got a good job after school, but I didn't like having a job.
Yeah,
so,
that's normally the plight of most comics.
Yeah.
The whole time going through, my brother went through engineering school, so I understand. I know, I've seen how difficult it is. And was comedy on your mind the whole time when you were going through
No, not
that?
until towards the end. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was good at math, so I went into engineering. Yeah. And it was a nightmare. It was great. I mean, there's good people in it and stuff, but it was hard, and I didn't like it at all. So that's why I found urban planning was at least interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of that, I started to panic because I didn't want to do that either. And so I started going back to my idea about acting, and I started writing a little bit. And so basically I got my job in Ottawa, and the week before I started my job, I did my first open mic night.
Oh, wow. And you kind of screwed over your new job in that regard just by getting the fever.
Eventually, yeah. Well, I wasn't sure. I was totally prepared to not like it. Mm-hmm. There's a little part of me that was hoping I didn't like it, because I knew life would be a little easier if I tried it and hated it, and then I could just walk away from it. But
that's true. Cross off the bucket list and then go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a different, most guys I talk to and people that I know, it's, in the comedy world, it's, they almost had it in a job, but to walk away from actually being in a job, that's kind of a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
And some guys they before they even get to that point, they're already, into the comedy thing. But what was it like quitting that? What was your...
It felt great.
Yeah?
But it was probably the first big... a big life moment as an adult was making the decision, because I was kind of dabbling. I was doing a little acting, comedy on the side, and had this job, but quitting and moving to Toronto and not having a job, and going there and really taking a kick at the can. So it was actually really it was a pretty exhilarating thing to do. Yeah.
And was your family were they supportive? Were they a little nervous for you?
They were very nervous. My mom didn't like it at first, for sure. She was worried because she thought, I had a good job and that's the way to go. But my dad loved it.
Yeah, your dad was
just
down.
if you want to go tell jokes, go tell jokes. And I was actually surprised at how many friends not only supported it, but really weren't as surprised. Mm-hmm. I was almost nervous to tell people. I was oh, by the way, I'm going to try to do comedy. And they're like, yeah, I could see that.
That's awesome.
I was an idiot. So.
I feel like most people wish they could do what you did, so they're probably almost jealous or like wanting to live vicariously probably.
I think there's a little bit just because it's so different.
It is, yeah.
It's just so different from what other people do, and they don't see the day to day of it. That's not glamorous in any way.
The grind,
but it's different, and I think that's what's interesting to people.
Yeah, definitely. So you not only just hopped into comedy, you also do a lot of writing, producing. You're involved in television. Was that did you do that all at once you got out to Toronto, or?
Yeah, it started as soon as I started, and I wanted to do everything, just in case, and I was interested in everything, and I still am.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of slowly evolved. I just it was a comedian friend of mine that gave me my first writing job. Mm-hmm. His name was Wade McElwain. There was a crappy show called You Bet Your Ass.
I remember that show.
I shouldn't say it. But it was a fun show to work on. It was just funny trivia questions, and Stuart Francis was the host, and my buddy Peter Anthony worked on it.
Oh, cool.
So he just got that, and then Jon Dore, who was a good friend from Ottawa, got his show, and then that show was really good. I still think it's my favorite thing I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
And that gave me some street cred.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I started getting in the loop.
Snowball. That's awesome. Yeah, that's kind of best case scenario in a way.
Yeah.
And currently, you were just telling me before we got up here, you were working on Fool's Gold. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what the concept of the show is and what your role is, because it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool show. So yeah, Fool's Gold is basically a bunch of. It's a real guy. This guy Todd Risner bought an old gold mine that shut down in the early 40s. And it was a very productive gold mine at the time. So there's gold there, but he bought it and became a prospector, and then started dragging his friends up there to kind of putt around and try to get gold out. And eventually he got it in the hands of a producer, and they made a show out of it. So it's really just him and a bunch of buddies going up there and trying to figure out how to get gold out of the ground. And so they have to they like to drink and fuck around, and but they have to build their own equipment, and they're super sharp guys, they have to build their own stuff, and but it's a lot of hijinks. You can imagine if you and a group of buddies went and tried to do something you have no idea about,
doing an ancient profession, an old 100-year-old job.
It's ridiculous, right? Because the gold, it's not like nuggets of gold you chip out of a rock. It's it's in sand. It's just, and you have to anyway. But it's kind of there's a ton of gold mining shows, and this is a funny take on it. It's a half-hour version, and it's kind of more of a DIY amateur hour show. Yeah. So tons of laughs, but you actually learn a lot about the gold, and so it was a cool experience.
That's cool.
And I had to spend a couple months up in the bush filming.
Were you guys in the mine itself and getting in there?
Yeah, well, it's kind of not right in the shaft. They don't have to go in the shaft, but it's basically all the gold from the previous operations. It's all left on the ground, so it's more sifting through dirt, trying to find out which dirt has gold in it, and then sifting through it and trying to figure out how to get it out.
That's crazy. Did you get the chance to drink with those guys out in the bush?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all there is to do.
Yeah.
That's why, at first I was nervous, because I was do I want to spend 9 weeks of my life? I've never been up there. I don't know these guys. But it was totally fun. All there is to do is build a bonfire and drink at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
That's kind of what we did.
And are you what's going on with comedy while you're up there for 9 weeks? Are you is it on the back burner? Are you writing up the whole time?
Yeah, just done that. Yeah. That's one of the things that made me nervous. Was I'm going to be totally out of the game for a couple months. And I had this idea and you always do when you take a job, you're I'll write jokes at night, but you don't. And
you're drinking in a bonfire.
Yeah, you're drinking and you're tired and you have to think about the next day. And so I was just right out of the game for a couple months. So the first time I came back to do a set, I was nervous again. I was oh my god, I forget how to do this. But I got a new chunk of material out of it.
Cool.
So
how could you not, right?
You'd be a failure as a comic if you spent 2 months in the bush and didn't come up with one bit. So
that's true. I always have that image in my head of just the old prospector with a pickaxe and
yeah,
with a floppy hat. That's crazy. So this is kind of a question we always ask, is just worst gig possible. Like, so you started off Ottawa, you got your way to Toronto, you've established yourself, but when did the worst gig that you can point at come along in your...
I have 2 worst gigs, and they're bad for different reasons. The first one was a college gig at Brock University.
Okay.
And that was probably my first year or 2 in Toronto, so I kind of had a bit of like swagger, like I thought I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. I opened up, the show started late and I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder for that. And I kind of went up, and I went up with more kind of going at the crowd a little bit, making fun of the school, making fun of them. And about 10 minutes in, I realized they hadn't laughed once.
Oh, no.
And I started to panic and started to do material. They weren't buying it. And then I just kept I tried dirty material. And then eventually they just started like heckling me.
Oh, no.
Yelling, yeah, boo, and can I say fag? They called me a fag.
You can say it.
Well, they
said it. Yeah. Not you. Unless you said it back.
One guy gave me the finger. Like, they wanted to beat the shit out of me, and I was like, I had to do 25 minutes or something, and I did every minute. Like I stood there for like 10 minutes and took the boos and the heckling.
Oh, man.
And then by the time I just gave up, I was like, okay, I got to bring on your other comic. Almost a standing ovation. And then he came on and killed. So that was the first time I left stage. Like, I was almost in tears. Like, I was so worked up.
Yeah.
And I had, left a good job to come do this. And I thought, like, oh my God, I'm terrible. And what a shitty decision.
I feel like the middle finger is such a boozy-esque, like,
as an
auditory
adult,
stuff, but
to get a middle finger,
and
like
for it to hurt you,
a genuine one, like he meant it. It was like like that, and I was like, oh my God, like, dude, I was like, I just tried to come to your shitty school. Yeah, I said it, Brock, and tell jokes. Oh my God, that was awful.
Your football team sucks. Yeah.
But then the only reason I pick a second one, that's the worst I've ever had, like, as a performance, I think. But the other one was like a corporate that Gerry Dee had gotten me, because it was way below his pay grade. But it was up in the Muskokas, and it was just too swanky for me to handle. It was really rich people. And, Darcy Tucker was there. It was Wayne Madaw's golf course. It was a to-do.
Wow.
And I just come up there with, like, khakis, tucked-in shirt, and just doing my bits. And
play.
They were not paying attention to me. Like, the whole show was basically them kind of looking up like me and going, rolling their eyes. And at that point, I had done comedy for quite a while, so I had a lot of clubs in the bag. And I tried everything. I tried going into the crowd, cleaner material, a little edgier. Like, I tried everything. And that's the only time I've come up short on a show. I think I was supposed to do like 45 minutes, and at about the half-hour mark, I just looked at the guy and said, like, let's kill it. They just started walking away, going into the bar.
It's corporate, so you're like, you got to be,
Yeah, I couldn't really go at them. I was too afraid to.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason he gave you that show, was he knew it'd be too snooty.
I think it needed, like, it had to be someone of Gerry Dee's caliber or bigger to be able to handle that kind of the egos that were in that crowd.
Oh man!
But I just ate it so hard, and I felt bad. I took the money.
Wow.
Because
that's a lot of pain to go through.
That was a lot of pain to go through.
Yeah, definitely. The first time I saw you live was you were in town with Mark Forward, who's a favorite of the club here and good friends with everybody. What was that like touring with him? He's kind of an interesting
Mark's
man.
Great. Well, we're really we're close buds.
Yeah.
And I think for me, he's one of my favorite comics personally to watch.
A lot of Canadian comics,
great.
He's like, you watch him and then you're like, what am I doing? Like,
yeah, he's so different.
He gets away with a lot more than
he does. But
some.
What I love about being on the road with your buddies is like that's the dream. I think in television
that's why you
too.
quit a job, right? To go do it.
Yeah. When you get to work on things with your friends, like that's what makes me happiest anyway. Mm-hmm. But I got to see Mark, sort of his progression from, over the last few years. He's really nailed who he is, and he had to go through some growing pains, to get that good on stage, being that good with an audience.
Yeah.
We had a blast, and we were at when was that? A couple years ago.
It was a couple years. Yeah. It was a good show.
Winnipeg's been good so far.
Yeah. What was your perception of Winnipeg before, as someone from Ontario?
As an outsider? It wasn't. I'd never been, but it wasn't a place that was on my list.
No.
To go.
You can say that. You don't have to feel bad.
It was like I don't know why I would go there unless
there was a gig.
But that's the good thing about comedies. You're going to go to places. Some you're going to like, and some you don't. But you get to go to places you would never go. Like you would never book a vacation in Winnipeg.
No.
If you have 2 weeks of vacation, you're not going to say, well, 1 week in Winnipeg and one in Hawaii.
Mark it on the calendar and wait all year.
So you get to see more of the country. And,
that's cool. What's kind of the weirdest place you've been to? Like you mentioned the swanky gig outs in the middle of nowhere, but have you done all like the rig shows like out in Alberta? And
No rig shows, but actually, my first paid gig was in Manitoulin Island.
Okay.
It's called. It's like in it's sort of up north in Ontario. I don't even
John
know where
can
it
edit
is.
in a map and
I don't even know where it is.
Research it and
it's like an island like in Lake Huron, I think.
Okay.
But it was like the first gig, and it was like on a native reserve. And this was my first paid gig in the middle of winter.
Oh wow.
And it was odd. It was terrifying a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing at that point. But also they made us stay at a bed and breakfast, which was actually just a dude's house. Like
okay.
We just showed up. It was just his house. Like the headliner had to sleep in his bed, and I was in bunk beds.
Crazy.
And there was no breakfast.
Oh, so it was false advertising.
It was just a guy's house, and he had a dog that was like this high off the ground that wouldn't leave me alone. So I basically got out of the car, and the dog was trying to hump me the whole time. And when it stood up, it was about my height.
Jesus.
So
could have been a
just
wolf.
Terrifying the entire time.
That's terrifying.
That's weird. One time I was up. It's always up north.
Yeah. There's a certain past the boreal forest line.
Something goes on up that way. One time I did a show with a couple of people, and we wound up driving across the ice in the middle of the night in someone's truck, and then drinking in their ice shack. So that kind of shit happens.
Fun. Yeah. That happens a lot in Manitoba too. So you know what that's about.
You don't fully know if you're gonna die or not, but you're like, well, this is the life I've chosen.
Yeah, the thrill of death keeps us going.
I always think about how much I would disappoint my mom if
you died in an ice shack.
Yeah, that's how I would go.
Lake Huron.
He was drunk on the ice in the middle of the night in some small town. Yeah.
How would she want you to die? A glorious death.
Yeah.
Yeah. In battle.
Yeah.
Maybe.
After having my own statue put up in Kingston and peacefully in my sleep.
That's how she pitches it.
Yeah.
That's cool. We were mentioned also earlier, you're talking about just working with friends and collaborating and having a good time. You were recently working on a new TV project with a buddy of yours. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. It's a friend, Andrew D'Angelis, very talented writer. It's basically like kind of the old writer's room on the Mr. D show. Mm-hmm. And he got his own show for Super Channel. And so myself and Mark Forward and Kurt Smeaton and his brother as well worked on it.
Cool.
But yeah, it's called What Would Sal Do? And it's basically a comedy about the second coming of Christ.
Oh, nice.
But as if modern day, and the guy is just a kind of an asshole schlub that doesn't want this responsibility, and it's kind of him learning how to be even a good person.
Okay.
And the comedy's great, really talented writers, and it's on Super Channel, so it's just people have to find it.
Cool. Check it out.
Watch it.
Go onto your TV guide and/or menu.
It's there somewhere.
It's in there.
It's in there somewhere, up in one of those channels that you don't stop on a lot. I think. I don't know. I don't know where it is on my dial.
The premise sounds unreal. That sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
So if you want to even maybe send Steve some, suggestions on what to do in Winnipeg, you can get at you on Twitter. Great. What's your Twitter handle?
At Steve_Dillon, DYLAN. And right now I've got hang out by myself in the apartment and tell jokes.
He doesn't want to do that for you, so don't request that. Unless you do. Do you?
There's a price for everything.
There's a price. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, you can haggle it out.
I'll do a show.
Private message.
In the living room. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the right price.
Hit him up with some good suggestions.
But
not
what
weird
should
stuff.
I do? Things.
Like when you were out in that ice shack drinking? It's kind of like that.
That kind of thing?
Yeah, there's bars. There's things going on.
Okay.
There's a lot of festivals, actually. There's usually, I don't have my thumb on the pulse right now, but they'll get at you on Twitter and I'll help.
Check the internet for that stuff.
Yeah.
Blue Bombers, are they playing?
There's probably a game. There's a game next week, probably. I'm assuming they're doing not very well.
Oh, no?
But do you like CFL?
Shame. I don't follow it like other sports as much, but I know what's going on, and I like watching it.
You like the game?
Yeah, I like the game. Yeah.
Toronto's kind of. I went there for the Grey Cup in 07, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that thing's going on down the road." But it's like I don't blame them. There's always something going on. But I'm like, "This is a Grey Cup." So.
My buddy Kyle Radke, who's a great comic.
Yeah.
He's the biggest CFL fan I know. He's a huge Ticats fan.
Oh, nice.
So I know what's going on through him.
Good stuff.
He's the only one who's passionate about it, and I know.
Get a big game. The stadium's nice. It's fun. It's good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's always good times. Yeah. Keep watching, and you can get at me at Jordan Welwood 1L on Twitter, and follow it, like it, share it, and thanks for joining us today, man.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Happy 30th.
Thanks. Yeah, 30th. That was more grandiose than